Good afternoon, Cleveland. My name is Wayne Wong. Thank you for joining us. This is obviously a very important election year for Cleveland, but also for AsiaTown. We have our candidates who will be introduced shortly. This event is organized by OCA, Asian Pacific American Advocates, the Cleveland chapter, as well as our partners in the community, Asia Inc., Asian Services in Action Incorporated, AsiaTown Cleveland, and this is all part of the AAPI Civic Engagement Network of Ohio, or the ACE Network. That's hard to translate, I know.
今天下午的这个活动呢是 OCA 来主办的，而且还有那个亚洲服务中心，还有那个这就是 AsiaTown，就是说亚洲城，联合主办这项活动。
今日呢個活動咧係由呢個 OCA 同埋亞洲民族服務部同埋呢個中國城一齊嚟合辦嘅。
Normally we reserve thank yous at the end, but I do want to just acknowledge the two powerhouses that kind of helped put this together. One is OCA Greater Cleveland President Lisa Wong, she's in the back.
这次活动呢是 Lisa Wong OCA 的总裁，他来主办。
And then also our host that's going to help moderate our speakers for this event, Joyce Huang. She is the Vice President of Community Development with MidTown Cleveland. She's been just an outstanding supporter of this community and a lot of the various programs that we've seen throughout AsiaTown.
今天这个活动的主持人是 Joyce，Joyce 是MidTown 这是一个組織的一個副總裁。
今日呢個活動咧，亦都係由 Joyce Wong 協辦嘅嚇，佢就係呢個中國城嘅其中一個主辦單位。
So without further ado, I'm going to hand the mic over to Joyce so that she can get this program started. Thank you, Joyce.
Thank you, Wayne, and thank you to OCA and our partners for this opportunity. So our goal today is to really get to know the candidates for both Ward 7 and the mayoral candidate. I'd like to share a little bit about the format. So because we have much to cover, I'll give a short summary of what the candidates are running for, and then each candidate will have about 10 minutes total to share whatever they would like about themselves.
今日我哋呢個會議咧係介紹我哋嘅候選人，係第7區嗰個候選人。陣間咧每一個候選人咧會有10分鐘時間俾佢介紹佢自己嘅。
那我们今天呢有3位候选人在这边，大家就是想跟他们认识一下，然后他们每个人有10分钟的时间向大家介绍他们自己，而且他们在竞选什么样的职位。
Great. So we will start with the mayoral candidates. Over here to my left. The mayor, as we know, is the leader of the city of Cleveland. And with this is a big role. The mayor helps to lead our city forward by setting a vision and setting priorities.
喺左邊咧係呢個市長候選人咧叫做 Kelley。
I was introducing the mayoral candidate. So they are running for the position of the mayor of the city of Cleveland, and the mayor helps to lead our city forward by setting the vision and the priorities.
佢係呢個領導我哋呢個哈利夫蘭市往前嘅，佢係一個其中一個候選人。
我们今天再次有克利夫兰市长的竞选人，就是Kelley先生 Kelley。他呢是大家也知道，这个克利夫兰的市长呢，他是一个整个这个城市的领导，他会设定很多的这个政策和一些重要的战略目标。
There are 2 candidates. There's Kelley and Justin Bibb.
有2位都是克利夫兰市长候选人，一位是Kelley， 另一位是 Justin Bibb。
Right. And so, you know, they also appoint other leaders in City Hall to help accomplish their vision. So this is the first time in 16 years that we have 2 new candidates running for this position. So this is a really important year.
今年非常重要，因为我们有2位新的候选人来竞选这重要的职位。
依家係我哋16年嚟嘅第一次有2位候選人嚟到競逐呢一個位置。
And without further ado, we'll start with Kevin Kelley. Feel free to have about 10 minutes to share whatever you'd like about yourself, introduce yourself to the community, and just remember to pause in between for our interpreters to interpret. Thank you.
下面就请凯利先生来用10分钟的时间向大家介绍他自己，而且他会停顿让我们来翻译。
而家係我哋先俾Kelly 先介紹佢自己佢咧就會一路介紹自己嘅時候咧會有停頓嘅時間，等翻譯員可以翻譯佢頭先之前所講嘅嘢。
Good afternoon. My name is Kevin Kelley. I am the President of Cleveland City Council. I've been the President of Cleveland City Council for the past 8 years, and we've made tremendous strides forward. I am a husband. I am a father. I live in our home in Old Brooklyn. I've been in Old Brooklyn for over 20 years, and understand the challenges that our neighborhoods face. And I'm sorry.
大家下午好，我的名字是 Kevin Kelley， 我是克利夫兰市的议会的主席，已经几年时间了。然后我这次竞选市长，我住在那个 Old Brooklyn， 我是一个丈夫，也是一个父亲。
各位好，我係競選呢一個Mayor 嘅我已經係有8年以上嘅經驗啦。我係住喺 Old Brooklyn 裏邊嘅，我亦都有父親，亦都有個丈夫。
During the time that I have been president of Cleveland City Council, I have made an effort to outreach to the community to make sure that we're both listening to and responding to the needs of the community.
在我当这克利夫兰市的议会的主席期间呢，我经常就是到民众之间了解大家的声音，看大家需要什麼。
我喺議會裏邊咧，我嘅職位係呢個總裁咁樣啦，我就係一路聽住大家嘅聲音嘅。
Examples include championing, working with the administration to put forth our first language access plan in Cleveland City Hall.
给大家举一个例子，就是说我和我的同事共同开展的一个新的项目呢，就是说在克利夫兰的市政府开放了一个就是说语言项目，给不会讲英语的人提供这種語言服務。
喺市議會裏邊咧，我最先咧係要提供一個語言先嘅服務。
When I was first elected council president, Cleveland City Hall was an English-only operation.
在我刚刚当选市议会的这个领導之前呢，这个克利夫兰市政府是一個單一的講英語的一個市政府。
在我係在位之前咧，市議會咧只係講英語嘅啫。
I work to make sure that all of our forms, all of our public-facing employees were able to communicate in 7 languages.
我确保了就是在市政府工作的工作人员可以在深入民众的时候能夠講7種語言。
我希望喺我工作嘅地方市會裏邊咧，係有我嘅同事咧可以明白到溝通到有7種不同嘅語言。
Recently, when I was made aware of the condition of sidewalks and infrastructure, I worked to make sure that the sidewalks at Sterling Recreation Center were going to be completed as a part of the project, because I know a lot of people walk on that as part of their route.
那个最近的一个新开始的项目呢，就是那个 Sterling 对 ，Starting Recreation Center 就是说它那个民众活动中心，它叫 Starting 民众服务中心那个地面已经损坏了，它现在要把那个地面修好，因为大家会在那邊走路。
最先咧，我係注意到咧係有一個行人道上面咧係損壞咗喺嗰個中心嗰度，所以咧我咧就要處理呢個行人道中心，將佢修理好。
In response to the horrific violence against Asian people in the wake of COVID, I work to push forward bystander training through our Department of Personnel, and I intend to fully execute that as mayor.
那个在这个病毒爆发之后呢，有一些仇视亚洲人的一些暴力活动、暴力的行动。那我作为这个市的领导，我做了一些工作，就是说训练我们城市的雇员怎么样来做好，就是把这个反亚裔的这些势力把它压下去。
Further, as mayor, I intend to work closely with Global Cleveland to make sure that we have a staff liaison, to make sure that we are a certified welcoming city.
作為市長咧，我第一件事咧就要希望到我哋呢個 Cleveland 市咧成為第一個好受歡迎嘅城市。
就是我也把这个市政府和另一个非营利机构叫做 Global Cleveland 的联合行动，然后把这个克利夫兰市变成一个欢迎外来的移民的一个城市。
And to support President Biden's Heartland Visa Program to take all these steps to create a better, more welcoming Cleveland.
也是拥护这个拜登总统的这个一个新的一个就是说给外来的人一个护照，给他们发护照的这么一个新的政策，来使克利夫兰成为一个更欢迎外来人的一个城市。
我亦都支持呢個拜登政府咧發護照嚟嘅，令到我哋呢個城市成為一個好受歡迎外來人嘅城市。
Thank you very much for being here, and thank you for your attendance and your caring about your great city. Thank you.
谢谢大家的参与。
All right, thank you, Councilman Kelley. The other note is that on your way in, you picked up these packets that have the candidate bios in them. So if you would like additional information about the candidates, you can find it here.
在一个大家刚刚进来的时候，那个桌子上有一些纸片，里面写的就是我们的候選人的自傳。大家如果還有什麼問題的話，也可以看一下他們書面的自傳。
喺你哋台面度咧，亦都有一啲即係紙張咧，係寫低咗我哋候選人嘅一啲資料，大家都可以查閱嗰啲資料，可以得到更多關於佢哋嘅資訊。
Okay, we'd like to welcome our next candidate for the mayor of the city of Cleveland, Justin Bibb.
现在我们来欢迎下一位市长的竞选人是 Justin Bibb。
Good afternoon. It certainly is an honor to be with you all today.
今日係我哋嘅榮幸，可以喺度同大家見面。
下午好，非常榮幸能在這裡和大家一起。
AsiaTown is an important anchor community in Cleveland, and its future is critical to the vibrancy and the inclusivity of Cleveland long term.
这个亚洲城呢是克利夫兰一个很重要的一个社区，是我們將來長遠發展的一個很重要的部分。
克利夫蘭市係一個非常之非常有發展嘅城市。
I'm running for mayor because I believe that now more than ever we need bold, new, urgent leadership to move our community forward.
我竞选这个市长的职位呢，是因为我认为我们的城市需要一个非常有胆略的一个領導者。
我哋競選呢一個市長呢，我係希望呢個城市得到一個更生命嘅一個市長。
And my vision is really rooted in 3 important ideas for our city.
我的想法呢有3點。
Number one, we as a community must do a better job of not only lowering crime, but also reimagining how we should truly have safe and secure neighborhoods across our city.
第一点呢，就是说怎么样能让我们的社区减少犯罪率，降低犯罪率。
第一點，我有3個重點啦，競選咧。第一個咧就係我希望有一個更好嘅職位咧，同埋一個更安全嘅木輪。
Secondly, we must have a modern and responsive City Hall that breaks down the barriers we have around language access, but also that better serves our seniors and better invest in young people all across the city.
第二点呢，就是我们需要一个怎么样的就是这样的一个市政府，就是说能够和民众交流，不光是语言方面而且要对老人要有更好的服務，而且對孩子、年輕人也要有更好的服務。
第二點咧就係我希望有一個更先進嘅一個市議會啦，同埋咧就對有溝通到嘅語言啦，同埋有一個更加多啲年青人同埋老年人對佢哋去服務。
We also know that we can't be a world-class city without a world-class public education system, and so better investing in our teachers and better investing in after-school programs for youth, but also making sure our young people have access to apprenticeships and internship programs is critical to the future of our economy as well too.
要想把克利夫兰建设一个世界化的城市，我们需要注重对年轻人的教育，这个公立学校对年轻人的教育要提高，要对这个学校和老师进行投资，也给这些年轻的孩子们提供實習的機會。
我哋有一個世界更加好嘅世界級嘅學校啦，同埋有一啲更好嘅老師，同埋俾一啲年青人有一個學習嘅更好嘅機會。
And I've spent my career working with mayors across the country, helping to lead nonprofits, working in business as well. And I think that experience, as well as having lived abroad in London, I also spent some time on a missions trip in Taiwan. I have a global perspective, and if elected mayor, I look forward to partnering with you to make Cleveland not just a great city in the country, but a great city around the world. Thank you.
我的工作经验呢，包括在这个对这个世界的人口的这个在这个世界人口的这个交流啊，这些方面，我跟全国的一些其他城市的市长都有合作，而且我在伦敦住过。我的目标呢是将克利夫兰发展成一个世界化的城市，对全世界的人都是欢迎的，加強交流。
我咧就已經亦都會同其他嘅市長同埋其他國家嘅領導人咧去交流過啦，例如台灣倫敦咁樣，希望我哋哈利夫蘭市咧成為一個先進更加好嘅城市。
Thank you.
謝謝他還在台灣也住過，他在台灣也工作過。
All right, thank you very much to our 2 mayoral candidates. Let's clap again for them. Remember that if you have a question, please write it down on this card and someone will come around to collect it.
請大家把所有的問題都寫在卡片上。
大家有咩問題可以寫你哋嘅卡片上，有專人可以去收集你哋嘅卡片。
All right, so we are going to move on to our next set of candidates. These are the 2 candidates running for the Ward 7 position.
那下面呢，我们还有請另外2位候選人，他們所要競選的職位是克利夫蘭市議會第7行政區的議員。
我哋話有2位候選人競選人，佢哋亦都係競選一個第7區嘅。
They will represent the ward, which is a smaller area than the city, but is really important because they make decisions about how the city spends its funds. They make legislation and laws, and they also are a voice for the neighborhoods. They also have discretion over how to spend some of their own funds that they receive in the neighborhood.
虽然他们竞选的这个职位不是市长这么高的职位呢，但是也很重要，因为他们有权决定我们这个第7行政区的这个政府资金是怎么花，然后一些重要的决定关于我们这个区的，他们掌管。
So with that, let's invite Ms. Stephanie Howse up and she will introduce herself with the 10 minutes.
下面呢，我们有请 Stephanie Howse， 她来讲10分钟的话。
Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Stephanie Howse, and I have the pleasure of serving as a state representative for Ohio's 11th House District, which I am currently in my 7th year.
大家晚上好，我是这个俄亥俄州第11行政区的代表，我做这个职位已經7年了。
我係第11區嘅行政代表，我喺呢個職位已經有7年啦。
So, as a state legislator, over these last 7 years, I have introduced and sponsored over 40 pieces of legislation. One of those most notably working over the last 2 years on the creation of the Asian American Pacific Islander Commission here in Ohio.
在我这个作为这个州里头的第11区的代表这个7年当中呢，我制定了40项法律。其中有包括这个亚洲太平洋就是亚洲人的一些关于亚洲人的一些立法。
So one of the reasons why I sponsored this legislation, currently there are 132 legislators that make laws for the state of Ohio. There's only one Asian American who is that is Senator Tina Mahara. And we know due to this global pandemic, many of the things that were happening to our brothers and sisters within our AAPI community.
喺呢個區裏邊咧，我哋有132個議員啦，其中一個係屬於亞洲太平洋亞洲人。
And so from there, I don't think it should just be relied on the one legislator if you are the only, right, to carry the burden to really advocate for community members here in our community. And so that's one of the reasons why I took it upon myself and working in partnership with Senator Mahara to introduce the legislation over in the House. That's the type of leadership that I have been having in Columbus, and I really look forward to bringing that type of leadership back here home in Cleveland, Ohio, if given the opportunity to serve as the next councilwoman here in Ward 7.
那在这个俄亥俄州呢，立法是有132位立法者，只有1位是亚洲人那。不能就是光指望这一位亚洲的立法者来为大家发声音，那这也就是说我站出来要替我们亚洲群众来争取权益，在这个州内的立法方面。
因為我哋有132位人去幫手呢個區域議員啦，但係我哋只得1位係屬於亞洲人嚟㗎，我哋唔可以指望1位亞洲人俾佢哋咁多負擔，所以咧我就加入去嚇。
So if given the opportunity to serve as the next councilwoman for our community, I'm really focusing on a couple of things. Community building, entrepreneurship and economics, as well as healing and restoration for a safe community.
那作为我竞选这个职位呢，我就是想要当选之后，为这个我们这个社区来做一些事情，包括在这个亚洲人的生意方面，还有那个经济发展方面，而且还包括对这个反亚洲的这种反亚洲人的这种势力的压制方面，我都要做实施的行动。
如果我當選呢個職位咧嚇，我都要係企出嚟講呢個我哋要確保我哋呢個社區有一個安全嘅社區啦。
So community building. One of the things I know that it's hard for people to work together when they don't know each other. And I really would like to see us here in our community creating that opportunity just for people to know each other. I had the pleasure of going to the Mid-Autumn Festival and boy did I have a good time.
我亦都係希望咧，大家可以認識大家，唔好以為話見到大家係唔知道大家係邊位啦。例如咧係參加啲活動嗰個Asia 嗰個咩啊 ？Asia
Mid-Autumn Festival。
哦，例如嗰個中秋節活動咁樣，係有機會可以大家見面嘅。
就是說要把我们这个社区建立起来、团结起来，那只有大家互相认识了才能做得到。那我作为这个社区的领导的话，哈，我会给大家一些机会，互相的交流和认识，而且我亲自参加了中秋节的活动，我很喜欢。
It's from experiences like this, you see like culturally we have things in common. So I'm a big dancer, so I love line dancing. And I believe there were some women there who were doing, I believe, a square dancing. Is it called square dancing? Yes, it was square dancing. And like I said, these experiences really bring people together. I know in having conversations, there have been concerns for just, our Asian American brothers and sisters and our African American brothers and sisters and our white brothers and sisters being able to work together. And I really truly believe as a council person, it is your responsibility not just to go in the isolated communities, but really trying to bring people together. And that's something that I'm committed to doing.
喺嗰個活動裏邊咧，又係好多人喺度跳舞啦嚇，我亦都好中意係跳舞嘅，咁咧就可以喺嗰個機會咧，大家認識到大家啦嚇。
那作为这个社区的领导呢，我会把大家都组织在一起不管是什么样的种族黑人或者是白人或亚洲人，大家都集中在一起就是说让我们的文化能够融合我喜欢跳舞，那我看到舞狮子的这种场景，我很高兴我想把这些文化融合在一起。让各种族团结。
And it's also looking like creation of the Ward 7 business guide. We know again, this global pandemic has really upended many of our institutions, our restaurants, and various businesses. And so I would like to see a Ward 7 business guide where people actually can know all the various businesses that are operated in our community so that people can actually patronize, right? I believe once people know the businesses that are here, they'll be more apt to spend their money and really work to pop up and increase the business activity from Ward 7 residents with Ward 7 businesses.
这个病毒呢，使很多的餐馆还有一些小型的企业都受到了严重的影响。那我作为这个社区的领导呢，我会建立一个资讯，就是说向群众介绍这些餐馆这些小型企业这样宣传广了，就会有人来吃饭或者是用这些服务。
And then finally, just as a state representative, I do believe I'm a product of this community. I do know that I love this community, and I want to bring my legislative experience here back home to serve as your next councilwoman. So if you'll have me, I'm kindly and humbly asking for your vote to serve as the next the next councilwoman, excuse me, here for Ward 7.
我非常的热爱这个社区，我希望大家能够支持我当选这个市议员然后能利用上我的这个立法方面的经验来为大家服务。
我希望大家能夠投我一票嚇，我希望用我嘅經驗去服務大家。
Finally, we have TJ Dow, who is the other Ward 7 candidate. So TJ.
下面有请TJ Dow 先生来讲话。
Hello.
大家好。
I apologize, excuse my dress. I was out in the field and my intentions was to go get dressed, but I had to handle some issues, so I apologize. I mean no disrespect.
不好意思，我本来是想要换衣服的，结果出了一点问题，我没有时间换，所以就穿着这个来。
唔好意思啊，因為我有少少問題，所以我就趕唔切去換我嘅衣服。
And it's also good because I see some familiar faces in here.
非常的高兴见到大家，而且还有看到熟悉的面孔。
I've represented this area for close to 10 years.
我作为这个社区的代表已经将近10年了。
And you guys have always been welcoming to me, and I appreciate that and thank you.
大家都是对我非常的欢迎，我非常感谢大家。
So one of the things that I would like to do, if elected, is continue what we did before. Whenever we would have events, we made sure that the entire ward was represented. We are a very diverse community.
我如果当选以后呢，我会使所有的这个社区里面各种就是说种族的人都可以发出声音，可以让大家听到所有人的声音。
So it was beautiful to see some of the events because you really saw what Ward 7 looked like because we had representation from the St. Clair Superior neighborhood, from the Huff neighborhood, and the AsiaTown neighborhood.
你哋已經係對呢個第7區已經係非常之了解㗎啦，所以我非常之高興。
And I always made sure that I was attentive and came to meetings and addressed any of your issues that you may have had.
我時時都有去開會議㗎，我會將你哋所提出嘅問題咧，去喺會議上面嚟到提出嚟。
And during my okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I know it's too.
在我这个为大家服务的这些年当中呢，我非常注重深入社区，然后和大家交流，听取大家的意见和声音，看大家需要什么。
And I want to continue to do that. I think the biggest piece is making sure that we have engagement as it relates to AsiaTown and how AsiaTown looks. And I believe, and I'm always a strong proponent, that the community should be involved in that process.
要建设我们的社区呢，一定要让大家群众一起来贡献，然后把大家的积极性都调动起来。
And I think with the COVID piece and with the $511 million down at City Hall right now, I think some of it has been spent. But I would be your advocate to make sure that AsiaTown gets its piece of that money to make sure it's able to sustain itself.
我哋個市會咧已經係花費咗有5000幾萬嘅我哋亦都希望咧喺亞洲呢個社區咧，亦都係分享到其中嘅一部分。
就是由于病毒的原因呢，我们有500个100万的这个美金哈，是这个市政府来想要投入到这个社区里面那我就想要把这个钱花到正地方啊。
And I take that role very seriously of being your advocate, whether it's in City Hall when it comes down to the $511 million that we'll be working with whomever is the next mayor of the city of Cleveland, making sure we get what we need for AsiaTown, or whether it is in a tenants meeting in one of the high rises because you're not treated fairly. I am going to be there to be your advocate.
那也就是说，这个政府的这个资金呢是有500个100万啊，那就是怎么样能够把这个这方面的资金也能花到这个亚洲人的这个社区里面。大家如果有什么样的，比方说住房方面的困难，或者是有什么样的困难哈，那个我在聽。
喺市會裏邊嗰個50萬嘅撥款裏邊咧，我亦都希望係能夠公平一啲嚟到花費一啲喺我哋呢個亞洲社區裏邊。
And in closing, I would just like to say I would love to be able to represent you again, and I'll be there just like I was before. And I appreciate close to 10 years that we spent together, and I hope that we'll have 4 more at least after November 2nd. So thank you.
非常感谢大家支持我哈。如果我再当选的话，就是再多4年，至少再多4年和大家一起工作和就是說由我來代表大家的心聲。
我已經服務，我已經喺度10年㗎嚇，好多謝大家。如果大家投我一票俾我競選到以後嗰4年裏邊，我會繼續為大家服務嘅。
And just one last thing, when Dave's closed, I was there fighting for you. And I made sure that they at least provided transportation for you to make sure that you were able to get back and forth from Dave's, the new Dave's. And I was also working with leadership to see how we were going to repurpose that building. But it's very important, and I'm very committed to making sure that your leadership, you are involved in any process that requires approval from City Hall with any development that goes on in AsiaTown. So thank you.
就这个 Dave's 那个超市关的时候呢，我在为大家说话哈，就是说至少呢给大家提供了能够从亚洲城到新的那个 Dave's 超市的公共汽车。如果我继续当选的話，我還是會聽取大家的意見，關於這個社區建設方面。
我會為大家爭取呢個交通服務由呢個亞洲城咧去呢個Dave's 嘅超市嚇。如果我被當選咧，我會繼續為大家爭取呢一個服務。
Okay, so we're going to enter into a period of question and answer, and we have many questions that have actually come in from the audience, but I'd like to start with a warm-up question, and maybe this is a hard question, but this question is, what is your favorite place or dish or spot in AsiaTown? So this one's hard for me, but.
那我们收到了大家的很多的一些问题哈。那我现在先提一个首先提一个问题，就是说大家最喜欢的亚洲城的地点，或者是餐馆，或者是任何的亚洲城的地点，你最喜欢什么
？Let's start with Justin. Do you want to go ahead and here, you can use this mic?
CM Cafe.
CM Cafe. All right.
他最喜欢是3M Cafe 哈，东海海鲜酒店。
For me, it's the karaoke bar. I love to sing.
Right here in Liwa.
All right, so diving into some questions about the AsiaTown neighborhood. So there's been a lot of attention because of the anti-Asian discrimination, unfortunately, but regardless of whether or not we need to organize around Stop Asian Hate, it's important to us that our voices are heard at City Hall. So can you please talk about maybe the 2 or 3 actions you would take to make sure our voices are heard at City Hall?
最重要一樣嘢咧，就係關於最近咧有一個係憎恨亞洲人嘅，咁樣我哋好想聽下究竟佢哋聽到我哋啲咩聲音咧？佢哋點樣去幫助到我哋咧？
由于病毒的原因呢，就是说有反亚洲人的这种迹象，那种趋势啊。那在此就是这个之外呢，你还会做哪一些事情能让市政府的领导听到我们的声音？
Well, number one, I'm going to make sure and guarantee that you have representation in my cabinet if I'm elected mayor on November 2nd, first and foremost. I'll say that again. I will make sure you have representation in my cabinet if I'm elected on November 2nd as the next mayor.
如果我係被當選到係下一任嘅市長咧，我係希望到我嘅下屬咧能夠聽到你哋嗰個聲音。
如果我当选了市长，就是11月2號哈，这个选举成功当选市长以后呢，我会确保我的内阁会听到亚洲人的声音。
I also intend to have a chief racial equity officer in my administration to work across every department inside City Hall to make sure that we don't further exacerbate racism that exists in the city, and that we work to dismantle structural racism where it exists to make sure that we can have a truly inclusive city long term.
喺長遠嚟講咧，我亦都會保證到喺我哋個內閣裏邊咧，我哋嘅工作人員咧係防止有呢個亞洲人憎恨嘅事情發生。
如果我当选市长呢，我会任命一位专门去除这个种族歧视这方面的一个官员，就是把这个种族歧视在哪里发生的，就把它在哪里解决掉。
All right, let's hear from the Ward 7 candidates too.
So to make sure that your voice is heard down in City Hall, first I will commit to ensuring that the community organizer that we have for AsiaTown will continue.
就是说我当选之后呢，就会确保这个大家亚洲这个社区的代表会继续的存在，继续工作。
如果我被當選嘅，我係確保到你哋亞洲人喺亞洲城市同亞洲人裏邊，你會聽到你哋嘅聲音。
Hosting regular community meetings as well as office hours in community places, similar to what I've done as a state representative.
会举行多次的社区会议，也会有这个开放的这个办公室的時間，讓大家就是在社區裡面能夠用這個時間來反映一些情況。
我會喺我嘅辦公時間咧開放俾大家，同埋咧就同大家有多啲嘅溝通嘅。
And finally, planning our community calendar based off of community events that are inclusive of those within our Asian American community. So we won't do things that are in conflict, but make sure that they are complementary to all the calendar events that we host in the upcoming year.
就是在社区活动方面呢，我们会小心不要让这个亚洲的这些社区活动跟别的活动重了，就是说能够让这些活动呢有更多的人有机会来参加，而且没有这種日程上的一些矛盾。
我會減少大家會嗰啲矛盾，例如亞洲人同埋非亞洲人嘅矛盾。
Three things that I would do is one, continue to have dialogue with the community and work closely with the community.
我会做3件事情。第一呢，就是说要继续跟我们社区的群众对话。
And then advocate for or support any type of legislation or initiatives that we would need to push to combat the racial discrimination.
在这个立法方面呢，要就是说推进这个在立法方面的保护我们亚洲人的一些法律，而且要阻挡和消灭这个种族歧视。
我會支持我嘅內閣啦，同埋咧我哋反對呢個種族歧視。
And I'm not talking about legislations to make a statement, because a statement without any type of money behind it is nothing more than a toothless tiger.
我说的这个立法呢，不光是嘴皮子上说这个话哈，如果任何的立法背后没有这个资金来支持的话，还是不行的。
And then lastly, I would have someone as a liaison that works specifically with my office as a council person with this community.
而且我会建立一个联络官，就是说亚洲人的联络官和我的这个内阁和我的这个办公室来联絡。
我會邀請一位亞洲人咧，同我嘅辦公室有一個聯繫。
All right, thank you. And I'm going to look over to Elaine, who's been organizing the questions from you all. Elaine, do you want to come up and share one of the questions that has been top of mind?
那我们这个亚洲服务中心的Elaine，他会把大家的问题都传播给大家。
Okay, one of the community members asked this question, and I think it's extremely important since there is a large population of seniors living in AsiaTown. The question is, what are your plans for creating a space for seniors to network, engage, and gather? This is a question for all the candidates.
大家提的问题，我认为里面有一个很重要的哈，因为我们这个社区里面有很多的老人居住，那其中的一个问题就是说，你们当选之后有什么计划能给我们这个老人社区提供互相交流的機會，在一起活動的這種機會。
喺我哋呢個社區裏邊咧，有好多年長嘅人居住啦，嚇，咁就睇下你哋有邊一個有冇一個聯繫可以同我哋呢個社區嘅老年人多啲嘅聯繫。
Well, I have one immediate idea. We should work with MidTown, so Jeff and Joyce, around creating a pocket park across the street from Dave's. That's low-hanging fruit for all of us, I think. Park across from Dave's.
我有一個提議咧，就係響呢個Dave 超市對面嗰度咧，就有一個公園，咁有一個地方可以俾大家可以去嗰度。
那我如果当选的话，我会和 MidTown 就是 Joyce Huang 的那个组织联手在那个 Dave 超市的对面建立一个公园。
Similarly to what Justin said, I will work in partnership with him because that was one of the things we actually heard when we came to, I think, and that's one of the things about being a leader. When you go to places and people tell you what they want, you work in partnership with them. So I will work in conjunction with the mayor's office to actually work to make that park a reality. It's a convenience place and we'll get an opportunity to get to know and continue to listen and grow together.
我咧係同Justin 咧係一齊工作嘅，所以咧我希望呢件事會成為事情係真實事情發生嚇，等大家等呢個老人中心或者乜嘢咧，都大家咧有一個地方可以去一個公園。
如果我当选的话哈，如果当选这个市政府的议会的议员的话哈，我会和市长，就是新当选的这个市长，联合起来一块儿把这个公园建设好。
One of the things that I would like to point out, and what I realize, particularly this election, is that when we talk about seniors that live in their homes, they get a lot of amenities. We did snow removal for them, we did lawn cutting for them, but the seniors that live in the high rises miss out on all of that.
我知道咧好多老年人咧，佢哋住喺房屋裏邊嘅，咁咧佢哋需要有呢個又要鏟雪啦，又要剪草啦，同埋又有啲好多老人咧，佢哋係住喺一啲公寓大廈裏邊嘅。
So, I'm sorry.
So 我们就是为当地的老人做了很多事，包括除草啊、除雪啊，但是呢，住在那个高楼里面的老人没有就是没有这个机会受到这样的待遇哈，帮着除草、除雪，因为住在高楼里面就没有。
So one of the things that I would do is commit Ward 7 money to activities for seniors in AsiaTown.
我咧就希望咧係攞到一啲嘅撥款咧，係俾喺呢個社區裏邊俾一啲老年人。
那我的计划呢，就是说把这方面的资金用在所有的老人身上，包括住在高楼里的，那就是说把这个资金对用在所有老人的身上。
And then we would collectively meet and come up with a budget for the year, and whatever programs or whatever events that you want to do, I'm committed to make happen.
我咧就希望喺呢個來年嘅預算裏邊咧，係擺落呢個預算裏邊，希望呢個係會成為真嘅。
就是我会把这个预算做出来，把这笔钱，就是说有这个预算，大家如果怎么用，想做什么样的活动，我会支持。
Okay. Elaine has another question from the community members.
Elaine 还有另外一个大家提出的问题哈。
Safety is extremely important to the AsiaTown community.
安全咧喺呢個亞洲社區裏邊非常之重要嘅。
就是这个社区的安全啊，这个安全问题对大家来说非常重要啊。
This question is addressed to all of the candidates. What will you do to address the safety in AsiaTown and specifically the shootings that are happening in Cleveland?
嗱，呢個問題咧就係俾我哋各位候選人咧回答啦。尤其對呢個社區個安全，你哋將會點樣做咧？尤其是最近一要發生呢個槍擊事件。
就是说，候选人呢，请问一下，你们当选会有什么样的保证我们这个社区安全的一些措施？比如说，怎么样，就是说取消这些枪击事件。
One of the things as it relates to safety, I always tell folks that I would work collaboratively with the police.
我時時都會咁樣講，我哋嗰個社區安全咧，我哋需要同警方合作。
我會做的就是說，第一就是跟那個警局的聯絡要加強，合作要加強。
But please understand that the police does not report to your council person. The police reports to the mayor of Cleveland.
但係你要知道咧警察咧佢哋周時都係將佢哋嘅報告咧係唔會報告俾我哋 council 嘅，佢係報告俾市長。
就是說大家需要知道的一點呢，就是警局並不是跟這個市議員匯報情況，警局呢是直接跟市長來報道。
So I am committed to working with the police department and the next mayor of the city of Cleveland. I am a strong proponent of police mini stations. I think we have to do more patrols in the community and make sure that our security cameras that we do have are working, and then add more as well.
我會咧就同警察更加緊密去合作啦，同埋巡邏多啲啦，同埋呢個社區裏邊咧亦都有裝咗呢個相機嘅，但我希望咧會安裝更多部嘅相機。
So I do think that we collectively need to come up with a plan, hold the next mayor of the city of Cleveland's feet to the fire, and make sure that they are committed. And your council has to do its part as well, because we do have to approve any type of budgets or any other thing that's going to take place as it relates to safety. But again, I'm committed to working with the next administrations.
我會繼續跟進呢一件事，如果我受當選嘅，所以亦都希望咧下一任咧就會將呢個成為我哋個繼續去工作喺呢方面嘅。
那我如果当选这个市議員呢，我會跟市長一同合作，加強這個警局在這個社區裡的巡邏，加強巡邏。再一個就是這些攝像頭啊也要增加。
So to work to ensure that our community is safe, there are three things that ideally I think we should work on. First, the recognition that by the time we call the police, the problem is already the problem has already occurred.
就是说在大家报案以後呢，就是通知了警局的時候呢，這個事情已經發生了。
Okay, so first, making sure that we support and grow street clubs here in our community.
那怎麼樣就是說能做得更好呢？因為這個報告警局的是這個事情已經發生了，才報告警局，對吧？那怎麼樣能防患於未然？就是說，能夠加強這個社區裡面的一種合作，民眾的一種合作。
Okay. And because street clubs really can be our eyes and ears that can work in partnership with our police commander and other law enforcement officers to really be able to communicate who's doing what in our neighborhoods and on our streets.
就有点像那个社区居委会啊，那个街道居委会，大家就能够交流，能够让这个社区之间、民众之间，包括他们这些官员，知道我们这个社区里面发生了什么样的事情。
And lastly, I really would like to see the city of Cleveland working in partnership through council, ensuring that we are utilizing our diversion center. The diversion center is for Cuyahoga County. It's right here in our community on East 55th Street.
就是说这个市议员，包括和市长要加强这个合作，来让大家的生活更有提高，而且要跟这个郡哈，它有个 county， 就是说这个叫什么卡亚后嘎这个郡哈，还要和这个郡政府也要联手。
And with the diversion center, it is specifically put in place to help community members that are in crisis, so we can work to be more preventative and prevent people down a pathway of going into jail.
就是说我的这个观点呢，就是防患于未然，怎么样能够让大家合作的更好，然后让这些事情少发生不发生，那就是防患于未然。
I also recognize a sense of urgency with this problem. I had to bury a family friend last year who was the 131st homicide in the city.
我亦都係知道有啲事發生，而且我有一個家庭嘅朋友咧，亦都係死咗嘅。
So what we need to do are a couple things. One, right now half of our cops are walking the beat, the other half are behind the desk. That makes no sense to me. We need 70% of our cops walking the beat, doing foot patrols, and the other 30% assigned to specialized units.
我咧係需要多啲警察去巡邏啦，嚇70% 嘅警察咧係去巡邏，另外30% 警察咧就係去其中睇下其他嘢。
就是目前来讲呢，我们的警员有50%是就是坐在那个办公桌的，另外的50%是出去巡逻的。我认为不应该这个样，我认为应该是70%的警员都要到那个外面去巡逻。那剩下30%呢，要把他们分工在一些重要的一些侦查方面的工作。
We also need additional capacity for our gun intelligence unit inside of our department, as well as more intelligence sharing between our vice unit and our gang unit, so we can better deploy the right resources to target the top 1% of violent crime plaguing our city. It's probably more support for gun intelligence in the city.
我哋需要更加多對呢個槍擊事件、槍擊嗰啲即係
just better intelligence and data.
就是说，在这个枪击犯罪的这些枪击犯罪的一些情报方面啊，这些情报都要把它更重视起来。一个是情报方面，再一个就是说一些黑社会的活动啊，这些情报哈，要去搜集。
But the biggest thing we can do to stop crime is to make sure that every neighborhood has broad-based economic opportunity.
那再一个就是说能够减少这些暴力犯罪行动的一个重要的途径，就是把这个社区的经济搞上去。
Well, thank you so much. We will do one more question, and then we're going to actually have a time of meet and greet and mingling. So Elaine, do you want to ask the final question? Format-wise, after the final question, let's have a photo op with the Chinese newspaper. Ms. Yingpu is here to take a picture at the end. So let's do this final question. Try to keep your remarks maybe to 1 or 2 thoughts, and then we'll wrap.
而家係去到最後一個問題啦。當問題問完之後，答完之後咧，會有一個合照同各位候選人。
那我们现在就问候选人最后一个问题哈，然后大家听完了这个问题呢，会有这个普英社长、报社社长照一张合影。
Okay, so this question again comes from the community to all the candidates. Many immigrants come to America for a better life, especially for their children. Central to this is education. So which often motivates AsiaTown residents to move to the suburbs in a lot of ways. So what would you do to improve education and encourage parents and families to stay in Cleveland?
我哋咧知道有好多新移民嚟到啦，其中一樣嘢咧就俾佢啲子女有一個更好嘅教育啦。有啲咧就會將佢哋咧就搬離開呢個亞洲城啦，喺鄰近嘅市區居住。咁而家問下我哋嘅候選人咧有咩辦法可以令到佢哋仍然繼續留低喺我哋呢一個亞洲城裏邊咧？
大家移民到美国来，这个重要的原因是想为后代提供更好的生活、更好的机会。那你们如果当选的话，怎么样来改进我们社区的公立学校？因为有很多人他都搬到那个就是说边缘的城市，校区好的边缘的一些城市。那你怎么样把这些家庭留在这个克利夫兰市里面，而且要让这个公立学校更好？
So as we talk about education, there are two things that I think we can do here in our Ward 7 community. First, we have to work on improving and having and developing a strong early childhood education program here in Ward 7.
我哋講到教育裏邊咧係最重要㗎，咁樣咧我咧就有兩點嘅，其中一點咧就係強化我哋喺呢個幼兒上學嘅一個學方面。
这个就是年轻人的教育哈，我们要从儿童下手，就是说要把这个幼儿教育抓起来。
And secondly, I think which is a selling point for families is that our children can actually start taking advantage of the College Credit Plus program. It's a program beginning in the 7th grade that our students can begin going to college for free.
第二點咧就係希望咧我哋嘅兒童咧就可以由呢個第7班開始咧就有一個計劃咧俾佢哋可以上大學嘅係可以免費。
就是说有一个 college credit 的就是说能够有这个大学的助学金的这么一个项目，就是从这个年轻的孩子七年级开始就有这些资助，能够让他们到大学里面可以免费的上大学。
And one of the things to recognize is that as a council person, we do work on education, but again, the education system falls on the mayor of the city of Cleveland.
我哋知道咧，呢個教育呢一方面咧係由我哋嘅市長佢哋市長佢哋係負責嘅。
这个公立学校的这个教育问题最大的这个重头戏是在这个市长的身上，这个市长的这个权限和责任非常大。
What I would like to work with this community on what are their recommendations and what they think would be important, and incorporate that within our educational system.
我咧就會問下我哋個呢度嘅社區啦佢哋個計劃係點樣咧？佢哋想點樣咧？
那就是說我們群眾之間，群眾的聲音裡面有怎麼樣的，就是讓我們的教育更好的發展的一些意見或者提議，我會聽取，然後和市長辦公室共同的聯手，把這個民眾的呼聲實施到這個事實當中。
Okay, and when I visited China with some educators, we visited some schools. And there's a lot of good practices that they had incorporated within their schools that I think we could bring here to Cleveland, and with the right leadership, we can make that happen.
我咧去過中國咧，亦都探訪過好多其他嘅學校，見到佢哋點樣嘅情況，我亦希望將佢嗰種情況咧帶嚟我哋呢個克利夫蘭市嗰度。
那我去过中国参观过中国的学校，我认为那里的学校有很多的优点，我想把这些优点都吸取到我们这个克利夫兰的学校里面。如果有就是说这个领导者有这个很好的领导者来实施的话，这个会成为现实。
I'll be real quick. I think there are two immediate things we can do a better job on in Cleveland. One, more parent engagement, particularly at the school building level inside of our public schools.
我想，那如果是家长能够有更多的机会来参与这个学校的一些活动，家长能够到这个学校。这个楼，这个学校里的这个楼来参加一些活动的机会比较多的话，会有帮助。
我希望咧係有家長能夠積極參與學校嘅家長活動。
And then also encouraging our students in elementary school and middle school about the jobs of the future by encouraging apprenticeships and internship programs by the time they're in high school.
那就是说，让这些学生呢，要有机会能接触到社会这些工作，让他们有实习的机会。中学生啊，也包括從小學開始，讓他們對社會的這些工作有了解。
亦都希望咧喺學校裏邊嘅學生咧能夠了解佢將來想做嘅乜嘢，同埋將來佢哋嘅教育係乜嘢。
Thank you. So let's give a round of applause for our candidates for taking the time. My final two thoughts before we take a group photo with the candidates is that you can start voting. Early voting starts this week. It's actually early voting week. And if you need more information, Karis is in the back there with more about how to do that.
也就是说呢，就是投票啊，不一定非得等到11月2号哈，可以提前投票。那个 Karis 那边那个桌子就有投票的一些信息啊，可以去他那拿哈，早投票。
我哋投票咧唔需要係等到11月2號嘅，亦都可以作一個提早投票。所有嘅資料亦都喺前台嗰度咧擺放咗啦，大家可以去攞嚟睇下。
And the second thing is that tomorrow at Asian Evergreen, some of the partners here will be working on translating the ballots into Chinese.
喺聽日咧，我哋會喺長青大廈嗰度佢哋會去嗰度介紹佢哋我哋嗰個競選者。
就是長青公寓的居民哈，那你們會收到翻譯成中文的這些投票票單，會翻譯成中文。
All right, and so with that, get out there and vote. November 2nd is the absolute last day you can. With that, let's invite Wayne up to wrap, and we'll take that photo and start mingling.
那个投票的话，就是11月2號就是最後一天了，投票哈，可以早投啊。
In terms of early voting, I can attest that it's easy and painless. I took my son who was home from fall break to the Board of Elections, and they looked at his information and said, "Are you a first-time voter?" And it was his first time in person, and they all applauded and it made him feel great. So go out and vote. So first of all, thank you to our candidates for making time from their busy schedule to join us here in AsiaTown. Clearly, this is very important to the community, and that's represented by the audience and their question and their attention to all the speakers. So once again, thank you. This is a nonpartisan event. The OCA, Asian Pacific American Advocates, is nonprofit, but we are nonpartisan. This is a service to the community so that your voices, your personalities could be noted and heard by this community so that everyone can make that very important decision on who's going to take the helm of leadership in this city for the next 4 years. So first of all, I want to, sorry, that was a lot to translate.
嚟緊呢4年咧係非常之重要㗎嚇，咁咧就你哋可以選擇你哋心目中邊位啦去投票啦，咁就投票咧亦都可以提早去投票嘅，而且咧係非常之容易嘅。
就是说我们此次这项活动，就是非政党派别的啊，是不分政党派别的，就是说大家都有包容性，大家都的声音都要发出来，让这个市的候选人听到。
And we did some thank yous, but I would be remiss if I didn't thank Joyce once again, Joyce Huang, for her leadership, not just today in hosting this event, but for years now, serving the community, being a leader, being vocal, being visible. And I think the improvements that we've seen in AsiaTown is a testament to the hard work that she and her team are doing. So let's give her a round of applause. And once again, this type of event is very...
我哋好多謝 Joyce Wong 咧，服務我哋呢個社區咁多年啦，我哋可以見到我哋呢個社區咧係一路咁樣喺度進步緊嘅，好多謝佢嘅辛勞，佢嘅勤力。
就是说 Joyce Huang 哈，她在我们社区里面做了很多的工作哈，做了很多的好事啊。就是说大家刚才鼓掌是 Joyce Huang。
Our candidates have gotten used to this interpretation, so they're back here reminding me. I do this for the Cleveland Asian Festival. I don't have to pause. I just go and talk, and it's a lot easier. You don't have to translate that part. Secondly, I want to thank Lisa Wong, OCAGC President. She organized this event. Voter engagement is just so important to the mission of OCA, and she's really taken that leadership role. In every couple of weeks, she goes to the naturalization ceremonies, encouraging all the new citizens to register to vote, and she puts a lot of effort into that. This event is a continuation of that effort, so give her a round of applause.
就是说感谢这个 Lisa Wong， 在这个社区，就是说在让鼓励大家投票的这件事情上做了很多的工作。他每隔几个星期就去那个这个入籍的这个仪式哈，入美国国籍的这个仪式，在那里面鼓励大家投票，因为成了美国公民就可以投票了嘛。那今天这个活动呢，就是说也是鼓励大家投票。
我哋好多謝阿 Lisa Wong 咧嚇，佢咧就係好多時鼓勵我哋啲新入籍嘅公民嚇，鼓勵佢哋去多啲去投票嚇。佢咧亦都係時時咁樣去其他嘅即係去嗰個移民局嗰度睇下嘅。
And let's acknowledge the hard work of the ladies in the back from MidTown Cleveland, including Karis Tzeng. She is well known to many in this community because of her hard work as AsiaTown Project Manager, Director. Thank you. See, the backup team here has all the information correct. Elaine was here. Thank you for her help with the Q&A and her leadership in the community with Asian Services in Action. I know we're taking a little bit of time here, but I think it's important to acknowledge everyone. Johnny Wu here with the audio. He's also a VP of OCAGC. And without further ado, my name's Wayne Wong. I'm Vice President of OCA Greater Cleveland as well, and we are going to adjourn so that we can finally get that picture. Now, a couple of things. First of all, I want to get a picture of just the candidates. We're going to do this systematically, and then perhaps Lisa and Joyce can join the group for a picture, and then the interpreters, and Vitas. Thank you, Vitas, for being our camera person. He's going to take pictures, but then Ann Pu from the Erie Chinese Journal will also take some pictures as well. So thank you, everyone, for joining us.
感謝大家今日嚟參加呢一個聚集。我先同幾位競選人合照先，然之後咧就請其他嘅工作人員啦一齊嚟合照。
So, and some of the candidates will remain to meet and greet. And then if you want to get your meal, you can hand in your form to Karis in the back.
就是说我们的候选人呢会和大家一块就是有交流哈。下面如果有什么可以谈话的这个机会呢，你们可以跟他们谈话。然后你如果想领取你的食物哈，你可以把你填的那个表格递给那个后面那个桌子上的小 小姐姐啊，他们会把这个食物发给大家。